Jai Hind everyone. Today I am going to deliver a lecturette on the topic that is India-Pak relation. So I will be dividing my whole lecturette in the 5 parts. The first, I will be introducing the topic and say why it is important. Second, I will be mentioning the historical background of the India and Pak relation. Third, I will be discussing about the current status of the both nations. And fourth, I will be discussing the challenges that both nations are having in their relations. And I will wrap up my conclusion. I will wrap up my whole lecturette with the conclusion part. So the topic is India and Pak relations. Why this topic is important? Because Pakistan and India withdraws a same history as they both get independence from the same colony, that from the British colony, and they both share a longest one of the longest boundary. So I think this topic is important, and Pakistan is also a neighbor. Like whether if we talk about naval border, if you talk about land border, these both nations are having the both borders. Second, what is the current historical background? So these both nations withdraw a same historical background, like these both nations got independence from the British colony in 1947, but after that these both nations are not having that great relation as far as it was expected. Like these both nations have already have 4 wars, that is 1947 war, 1965 war, 1971 war, and 1999 Kargil war. So these all wars have impacted the overall relation of the both nations. So if I talk about the current status of the both nations, so in current scenario, the India and Pakistan is not having any trade. India and Pakistan is not having any military cooperation, military exercises. India and Pakistan is currently now having no any type of maritime security pact or etc. that is influencing the trade, that is and what are the challenges that these both nations are having, so that they can so they are unable to improve their relations. So I have identified that the first challenge is Pakistan is continuously intervening the India's internal politics despite of India's concern over it. The second outmost challenge is Pakistan is a haven for the terrorism. That is, it is supporting the terrorism that is influencing affecting the India's region. And the third one is, I think these both nations, China's influence over the Pakistan through its CPEC, the China's Pakistan Economic Corridor project. These all nations, these are the certain concerns that India is having, and it is impacting the overall relation of India and Pakistan. So as a conclusion part, I would like to mention these all things can be resolved with a bilateral talk and with a proper pact and a proper deal and a proper memorandum of understanding. So these both nations can have a bilateral talk over various international forums and support, and the first basic thing is Pakistan should not support the terrorism, and these both nations, these all things can be get settled by the bilateral talks. And apart from this, I would like to mention that these both nations are a emerging economy, and these both nations is one of the largest nation of the ASEAN that can influence overall trade, and these both nations can have an impact over all the globe. So I think for a better globe, so for a better geopolitical scenario, these both nations should have a great relation. That's all. Thank you. Jai Hind.